Hi guys, I'm Phoenix Aurelius, and tomorrow I'm taking alchemy to the Amazon rainforest, and I'm taking you with me on this alchemical journey. Join me for this hangout, we'll talk all about it.
Welcome to Alchemi-Culture Live. This is Michael Pierce, and we are broadcasting live from Peru with Phoenix Aurelius. And I'm glad everybody could join us. And Phoenix, how is it going in Peru?
Oh man, thank you so much, Michael. This is absolutely great. I want to say sorry for all of those who tried to join in live. We've been a little bit late, had a few little technical problems and some get-ups, but here we are in the jungle. So we're about 15 minutes outside of a city in Peru called Tarapoto, and there is a wonderful, wonderful eco-village here called the Yakumama Eco-Village. And it's run by Aubrey Bondad and Dionisio Santos, and this is also the home of Corriente Amazonian Herbals. So here we are in very wonderful tropical jungle and getting ready to practice alchemy for 40 days. So I'm going to be doing some cool physiological transformations on myself because there's a lot of amazing raw produce here. Of course, we're in the jungle, so like the native currency here, Michael, is called the sol. Like the sun, and it's roughly about $2.8 or 2.8 sold to $1. So, you know, more or less like a 3-to-1 exchange ratio. But just to give you an idea of what happened, we went to the market earlier today. I wanted to take a look at grapes. So, of course, all of the grapes here are all old world vine, man. So they come from Europe, and they came when the settlers came, and they all still have seeds. I mean, seedless grapes are not things that we saw at the market today. So everything that we have here is just so pristine. It's very old world style. There are a lot of industrial kinds of things that are happening to the area, though. Like it's starting to get very commercialized, and the city keeps growing out farther and farther and farther from the jungle. And the Peruvian economy is doing very well, from what I understand. They're
Oh,
growing
that's good.
6% year over year over year. But along with that growth comes some major problems in terms of being able to keep a civilization strong. And so, like, there's just so many things that I've noticed since being here. First of all, when we think about like the native population, you think about like Indios, you know, you think about native people running around in the jungle, and unfortunately that hasn't happened. And or at least not here, and what I've seen so far in Tarapoto, which is limited, but it's still a pretty good view, is that the native people have been really kind of pushed out by modern commercialism. And so like their native language here, we're in an area where the native people are called Lamistas. There's the Lamista people, or the Lamas, and they have a native language called Quechua, and there's only a couple of individuals that actually still speak that. It's not as big as what you would think it would be. There are other areas, of course, in Peru where it is pretty big, but here, not so much. Everybody speaks Spanish, and there's been this over-commercialization, and it's really not too different from the United States. When you go to like a market or an airport or any of those things, you're engaging in that. So it looks like you're showing a couple of photos of Tarapoto right now.
Yeah. I just did a Google map and showed the 100,000-foot view on Google Maps, and yeah, I'm going through some pictures and just kind of checking out the place a little bit.
Man, I'll tell you what, it is absolutely stunning here, and there's some really great things that we got to see when we went into town and into the market. First of all, it's not like other places in Peru. And in Tarapoto, people are extremely friendly and extremely nice. People also just ride on motorcycles in these little like rickshaw motorcycle things they used to carry around everywhere, and they call them a taxi. And it's like a motocaro is basically what it is. But it's these amazing ways to get around, because petrol is actually pretty expensive here. You know, gas is pretty expensive, so
Right.
everybody gets around, but there's not really like rules on the road. The main thing is just don't kill other people. And so, you know, you might be like having like 6 or 7 motorcycles all driving around. And last night when we were driving in, by the way, Michael, there was a little girl who was asleep and resting her head on her arms on the speedometer of the bicycle like this, or of the motorcycle like this. And then her mom was sitting there driving the motorcycle, you know, down the road. And this girl's just like asleep on the front of the motorcycle while her mom's driving. It
You're
was
like, we
hilarious.
are not in Kansas anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, oh, culture shock. But it was really cool. So yeah, I'm glad to be here though. Today has been wonderful. It's been very, very grounding. Sleeping with the sounds of the jungle around that's absolutely amazing, and being able to see all of the great things. So of course, you know, I've dosed myself up pretty well with coca lately. I had lots of coca tea at the airport, and I'm making some more right now. There's some fresh coca trees around here on the property that haven't quite gotten to yet, but that is just such an absolutely fantastic plant, man.
Yeah,
Why it's even illegal in the United States, I could not tell you.
I
It's
know.
the dumbest thing.
I so wish I could drink some coca tea instead of coffee. Not only because I think it would be healthier, but there's no come downs, and it just seems like such a
Yeah.
better medicine than coffee.
Oh, it's unlimited, man. I mean, it's so much better than coffee, but again, it grows much easier than coffee, and it doesn't take as much to harvest as coffee, and so it's not as big of a cash crop.
Yeah,
And you know, so the powers that be don't want it. But
yeah,
if there's anybody out there thinking that coca is a drug, you need to stop it. In fact, even in the airport, they have these stickers that say "La hierba de coca no está una droga." The herb of coca is not a drug. And it's like a little bumper sticker that a lot of people have here, and you see that in a couple of places. It's usually for tourists. You saw it in the airport. You don't see it everywhere else because it's just part of the lifestyle here. You know, you
right.
chew on some coca leaves, you drink mate de coca, you do, you know, all these other things, and it's absolutely fantastic, and it's fine. And you're not seeing the same cocaine problems here that you're seeing in states where coca is illegal, like in the United States and things like this. So,
Yeah,
you know, it's not, you know, we really need to reconsider how that is, because the mate de coca really helped me a lot. Of course, you know, back in the States, smoking a lot of ganja and stuff, and then going without it on an international trip, I was a little tense, a little on edge, you know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
And we got to the airport in Lima yesterday, and I ordered 2 mates de coca, and Nori and I each had one, and boom, just that simple. It really takes the edge off, and it was beautiful. And it's great, too. It's a very wonderful kind of conversation thing. So I'm looking forward to making all sorts of spagyrics out of it. I have a couple of different things that I'm going to try. I want to talk to some of the locals and play around with the plant, see if I can press it, see how much oil it has, and if it's even worth like a steam distillation, or whether it should just go into a fermentation or what. So everything out here, though, I mean, with the exception of a couple of things, is just absolutely amazing. It's stunning. It's widely available. And it's entirely different than what we have in the United States. When we went to the market earlier, we picked up some star fruit. We picked up cherimoya. We picked up, you know what a cherimoya is, Mike?
I've read it and maybe seen pictures, but I don't know that I've ever had one.
So the United States took the cherimoya as the initial flavor for bubblegum. That's what bubblegum is supposed to taste like, is like the fruit called cherimoya. And we've had papaya, we've had all of these amazing things. It's been absolutely wonderful just having, yep, there's a couple of pictures of cherimoya right there.
Yeah.
So those are wonderful. You break them open and they are just absolutely great. And in the United States, you know, because they have those at Harmon's in Utah, they have those at some specialty health food stores all over the nation. But they're used, unless you're in Hawaii or something, they're not vine ripened. They're not ripened on the tree, you know what I mean? And so
Mm-hmm.
the taste is entirely different. I've never liked the papaya. I've tried papaya a dozen times or more back in the States, hated it.
Not a big fan
time.
either. I've never been a big fan of it.
You know, well, it tastes like bitter and moldy and like
Mm-hmm.
that. It's
Kind of
not
dry.
sweet. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. But I had one this morning. I had apple and papaya and grapes and banana. And bananas taste entirely different here because they're also tree ripened. The papaya though, man, I'll tell you, I've never had a papaya that I love so much. It's absolutely stunning, and I became a fan of it. So, you know, I doubt that I'll probably like the ones that are in the United States because, you know, they're gross. But those papayas, fresh ones that you see growing on trees, and at the markets here, it's a whole different creature, man. It's amazing.
Right.
So things that I thought that I would find, though, that I didn't find, there's not very many berries in this portion of the Amazon. So I was hoping to get my hands on like Incan berries, golden berries, acai berries, things like that. Not really. There really wasn't anything over at the market. I didn't see any of those things. I was really looking forward to making some spagyrics of those things, but unfortunately, they're not in this part of the Amazon. So it looks like it's closer, the farther you go east and south, kind of towards Brazil.
Hey, are you
Uh,
thinking of working with any fruit, or are you going to primarily focus
oh
on
yeah.
greenery?
Oh no. So far, let me see if I can find one. There's these huge ants here, and I'm gonna make some tinctures of ants. I already have a method for how I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna take like a big gallon glass jar, just like not a 5-gallon one, just a gallon empty glass container, and raw cane sugar is all over here. And so I'm gonna put raw cane sugar inside of the jar and just tip it on its side and attract the ants in and try and get as many ants in there as possible. And once it's about like a third of the way full with ants, just crawling all over inside of the bottle, I'm just going to hurry up and pour water inside of it, dump in my yeast and stopper it, put it on my fermentation lock. And while the ants are alive, I'm going to start the fermentation process so that I can capture as much. Yep, perfect. Those ones look like it.
So you're going to ferment the ants.
I'm going to ferment the ants, exactly. I'm going to make an ant liquor. And there's a couple of other things too. We still have 40 days.
Mm-hmm.
So there's still some time for us to do whatever we need to do. But all of the fermentation work, we're going to try and get out of the way as soon as possible so that we have time for, that'll be the very first thing that we start with is fermenting things so that
Mm-hmm.
later when those are done fermenting, and you know what, I guarantee you that it will not take 2 weeks to ferment. And it's so nice out here, Michael.
Oh, I bet.
Sometimes you actually, to get things to ferment, you actually have to bury a little hole in the earth so that the coolness of the earth doesn't over incubate the temperature
Interesting.
for fermentation.
Backwards.
And, yeah, exactly. That's only in the really dry season. We're just barely coming out of the wet season right now. It's like the beginning of the dry season. There's 2 seasons in this area of Amazonia. There's wet season and dry season. They don't have all 4 seasons like fall, summer, winter, and spring. And so, this is a really interesting time to come here because everything is plush, everything is green, lots of things are growing really well. So yeah, we'll be doing ants. There's also a couple different varieties of bees that I want to get, and every different species of bee apparently has different flowers that it's attracted to and different things that it pollinates. And so there might be some that really like datura flowers, for instance, and some of these more rare kinds of flowers, not just like fruit trees and things like that, those are the kinds of bees that I want to locate during the time that I'm here and see if we can ferment some bees as well. Make
So doing some, that would be animal kingdom, wouldn't it, on both the bees and the ants, or was that kind of in between?
Well, it's kind of in between according to most cultures. Like traditional Chinese medicine, for instance, still considers insects part of the vegetable kingdom.
Okay.
They're the most volatile part of the vegetable kingdom, but they're not quite part of the animal kingdom.
Yeah.
In traditional Chinese medicine.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that they're pretty similar to the plant karma, meaning that insects work more with botanical karma than they do with animal karma in many ways.
Definitely.
They're constantly helping the biodiversity around them, whereas animals more, I don't know, I guess you could say animals kind of feast more on biodiversity, plants and things like that, and so they're more destructive to it than insects, which
the ants and the bees,
the process.
Yeah, the ants and the bees are clearly more involved in the plant ecosystems than some animals, at least.
Yeah, exactly. And I would say that they're more involved in the plant ecosystem than the animal ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, and so that's kind of, here's a couple of these guys. Let me see if I can get this. I might go out of frame for just 1 second, but let me see if I can get one of these ants. I want to show you what this looks like. These guys are amazing. And they're so smart, too. They've got this excellent sense of smell, so they don't really want to climb on things that you've touched too much. But that's precisely why I want these ants, is that they have an excellent sense of smell. And people who start losing their sense of smell, which is like over 80% of people by the time they're 50, lose so much of the ability to connect with the natural world. And ants are extremely high in zinc, and they bring back that level of scent. And if you have nothing wrong with your scent, it really intensifies the way that you smell things. And so, like, even offensive odors, I've noticed. Alchemi, the company Alchemi, al-qemi.com, has a spiritualized tincture, or a spiritualized essence, I think, of Polyrhacus ant. And that's how I started getting onto this whole ant bandwagon. And since I started taking that some time ago, the sense of smell has really increased. And I have a very sensitive nose anyway, but it's made it so that even offensive odors are no longer offensive. It's like where I can pick out subtleties and like different micro scents that compose one larger scent. And of course, I've kind of trained my nose like that with perfumery and a couple of other things as well, but this is to a much greater degree, much greater degree. So yeah, I think that is really cool and really fun and really interesting. Let's see, the other fruits. Yeah, that's what you were asking.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna do one of papaya. Definitely going to make old world grape wine here. They have cherimoya, of course, which I want to make a spagyric out of. I mean, just about all of the fruits and things that I can find here, we're going to try and ferment as long as we have vessels for it, and we'll try and take it as far as we possibly can.
So how much of the lab work do you think we're gonna get a peek in on, or do you know yet?
Yeah, well, you know, basically I have a tripod and a dolly and a number of other things, and what I'm going to try and do is keep somebody in the lab filming just about all time. So we're going for 3-hour stints. We go from 9 in the morning until noon local time, and we take a break during the peak hours of heat during the day, which is about from 12 till 3. And then we come back on from about 3 until sundown, which is about 6 o'clock, 6:30. But we're equal 12 and 12, light and night here, from what I understand. So, you know, it starts rising. The sun rises between 6 to 6:30 every day, and it sets at 6 to 6:30 every day all year long. And right now, it's like from 6 to about 6:15, from what I understand. 6 in the morning till about 6:15 at night is when the sun rises and sun sets. So we've got a whole bunch of light available to us. We've got a bunch of daytime stuff. So you guys should be able to see just about all of the lab work. Now, we're not going to broadcast that live, of course. That just poses too many issues, but I will be uploading. So it'll be
Good deal.
It'll be pretty fun. We'll be able to show a lot of.
We'll make it available to those who are interested.
That's exactly right. And you know, we're going to try and make as much of this available for free for everyone as we possibly can. There is going to be some stuff, though, that is very proprietary and very unique. And for that stuff, we'll have in our membership section, which is just available for those who donate $25 a month as part of a subscription. And, you know, so we'll be loading up all of our content, though. We'll have tons and tons and tons of live content. We'll have tons and tons and tons of uploaded content. And the key is just to stay tuned, because this is literally not even day one, technically, of the 40 days that we have left. Our 40 days start on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really when the work begins. Until then, it's hanging out and getting used to the land and finding out what's here and what's available. And and of course, you know, traditional with my style and the style of alchemy altogether, we're just working with what's available to us. We're not going to go out of our way to, you know, try and find crystalline fructose because it ferments better. They have tons of unprocessed raw cane sugar here.
Yep,
you know,
that's in the area.
We're going to use. Exactly.
And I also did want to mention that if you do want to follow us, go to Alchemi-Culture and sign up. There is a free membership site, so most of the content will be showing up there. If there's anything you'd like to see while Phoenix is in Peru, please comment below the videos or on the event page or on the Facebook page, and follow us there.
Contact us page.
Yeah, even the Contact Us page. Let us know what you want, because we're here for you, and we're doing this as our adventure, but we want to bring you with us. So please, like I say, comment, like the pages, join the Alchemi-Culture membership, and we will keep you updated with what's going on and with the content that we're creating as well.
Totally, yeah. I want to hear, you know, as many ideas as possible about what people would ideally like to see in terms of processes, or, even questions about some of the processes that we might show during this thing, go ahead and drop us a line. Let us know what you're interested in. I mean, I've thought about a lot of things. I've been thinking about this since September. What would I do if I came out to the Amazon, started doing this when the opportunity presented itself? And so I've thought about a lot of things, but I guarantee I haven't thought of everything or even close to it. And so,
well, you just jumping into ants, bees that could be eating on the nightshade, and fruit, and we've already jumped into all kinds of interesting things for me personally.
Yeah, totally, man. And I mean, we're literally just barely scraping the surface. There's so much biodiversity here. I mean, even like vegetables that the locals eat that like we have no idea. There's like these I can't remember what they're called. They only have a local name. But they're like these big, like round looking roots that are part of like a big tree or a big flower kind of thing. And the locals like grate them and fry them up a little bit and eat it. And it's really interesting. I didn't exactly understand the whole thing about it. So I'm going to have to try and get that dish prepared for me and see kind of how it works and things like that to get an idea of how I want to work with it spagirically. But I can tell you just about everything out here that has medicinal value that we have the opportunity to do, we're either going to be fermenting it, making an essence out of it. We'll be pulling the essential oils out of it if we can, and then fermenting it. We'll be tincturing it. We'll be working with as many things spagirically as we possibly can during these 40 days. And of course, the whole purpose of this is so that Corriente Amazonian Herbals has the skills to be able to create these Amazonian spagirics live on site all year long. And so we'll have a great working relationship. So I think that it'll be great to take as much of this as we have and to not only do it for ourselves and do it for all of the viewers through Alchemi-Culture, but we're making it available on a worldwide level. Anybody from Corriente, yep, there's the website. Anybody from Corriente after this training and after Aubrey starts feeling a little bit more called to doing it, all of these should be available there. So it's beautiful. By the way, while we're on the site, I want to talk for just a moment about the Aya retreats. One of the most amazing things that happens at the Yakumama Eco Village is the Aya retreats, and people come down from all over the world, from primarily Europe and the United States and Peru and other South American countries, and they come and explore Aya with Dionisio. And Dionisio is one of the most, how should I say it, non-traditional ayahuasqueros that I think I've ever spoken to, because he's not about maintaining the native traditions around the plants per se. He's rather around using it outside of a cultural context to have massive awakening experiences, a multi-dimensional experience. And he's extremely well skilled in guiding those journeys. I haven't yet had one with him, but we will during the time that we're out here, and I will certainly be reporting back. But I've spoken with him about it over the phone a couple of times, and here in person a little bit, and it's just really interesting the way that he approaches Aya, because it's not at all this traditional, let me sing you some songs and chant, and it's certainly not like the Santo Daime Church. It's a whole different experience, all in and of itself, that allows you to explore your own multidimensional nature. So we are staying in the guest house. Let me see if I can flip this camera around. Actually, I'll show you some ants that I want to ferment. I'll show you some tinctures, or the guest house here. Okay, so that guy is one of those ants that I want to get. And I wish I had something for size comparison. Those ants are about the size of a dime, actually.
Wow.
So yeah, so I try and come in here. You see those rocks, and those rocks are a little bit bigger than a dime. And there's that ant. So they've got those growing all over, and fortunately, those aren't aggressive. It's the small black ones that are very aggressive, and they will bite the shit out of you. I haven't been bitten by mosquitoes yet because I have catnip oil mosquito repellent.
Very good.
But I have been bitten. Guest house. we are getting internet in there either tomorrow or Wednesday, so I'll be able to broadcast live from it, give everybody a walkthrough in a couple of days what the retreat's going to look like and stuff like that. I believe that's the laboratory right there. And there's a couple of native people who live on this land. They've got houses actually just down the way, down this road that I'm standing on. And that's really cool. They actually work for Aubrey and Dio. And so yeah, it's really beautiful. But I mean, just the biodiversity. I mean, I'm literally, I just turned around, Michael, and I want you to see what I'm looking at right now.
Okay.
You see those flowers, man?
Mm-hmm.
God, I mean, like literally everywhere you go, everywhere you step.
New project.
Just, yeah, new project, new biodiversity, new foliage, new everything everywhere. It's absolutely
new food.
Amazing. So, new food. I am absolutely excited to even have this opportunity to come out here. And I'm even more excited to be able to share it with everyone, because this really is kind of like a spagyric opportunity of a lifetime to be able to come out to the northern Peruvian Amazon and explore these things. You know what I mean? Really play with them and get to know them and connect them. And when we're talking about getting to know plant spirits, especially in Amazonia, there's this natural method of taking them without refining them. And as you and I both know from playing around spagyrically, a lot of plants have this very detrimental nature to them that causes them their own death. It's just like in alcohol. If we don't distill out the fusel oils or the death oil, it causes us to get drunk and have hangovers and all of these other things, because it's not pure life force. The same thing happens in plants. And so I can't wait to take these spirits and to be able to refine them to such a degree that we remove a lot of those superfluous components. And of course, Aya is going to be one of the first ones that we work on. So both the vine and the chacruna.
Are you going to work spagyrically with those?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we're going to try and, I think what I'm going to do, this should not be difficult at all. I brought a bunch of potassium carbonate. We have about 5 pounds of it. So I've got to calcine and leach and do a couple of things starting on Wednesday, and then immediately I'm going to start trying and get some deliquescence going and make some oil of tartar. It shouldn't be hard. We're at about 80% humidity here, so it shouldn't take very long at all, especially because there's this beautiful mountain. Can't see it right now. You can see it from the guest house. So when we get internet in there, I'll broadcast from there. But there's this beautiful mountain on the east side of this valley that we're in. And the sun rises over it in the morning very, very slowly at about 6 o'clock, 6:10. And it comes up, you know, the sky is still bright before that, about 5 o'clock. But when the sun actually comes out over the crest of the mountains, one of the most amazing things. I actually caught a picture of it this morning. So, you know, I'll be sure to share that on the page that this video is broadcasting from. But yeah, it's just absolutely beautiful. So it won't be very hard to make sure and control the times. You know, it's just like back home in Utah, Mike, you know, except Utah yields virtually no dew. Out here, we should be getting tons and tons and tons of it, or at least that's my guess. I'm hoping that we get tons and tons and tons of it. So yeah, at any rate, man, we've got just so much inspiration, so many projects that are you know, sitting around in the ethers right now that can happen. And of course, Aubrey is like a sponge. She's so excited to learn, you know, and take in all of this, that it really is just kind of left up to me to determine what plants we want to work with and how we want to work with them and things like that. So I think this is going to be great, man. We're going to have all sorts of great biodiversity made spagyrically here before very long, and be able to show all sorts of processes that I don't think have ever been disclosed either privately or publicly ever before. And if there's only one piece of information that I think is vital for people to understand about spagyrics, that it gives you the opportunity to work in this very multidimensional way with the plants, with the fruits, with the vegetables, with the insects, with the metals, with minerals, with all of the materials from from this earth, you have this way to multidimensionally open it up and to apply it to your own multidimensional nature. And so, you know, do you have a headache because you're stressed, or do you have a headache because of low blood pressure, or do you have a headache because of whatever? It doesn't matter. The symptom of the headache is the same. How you treat it, though, should ideally be entirely different. So at any rate, that's that. And I will go ahead and let you go because we're just getting ready for a meal. But this has been an absolutely fantastic opportunity to come and check this out. So again, Phoenix Aurelius, live from the Amazon, having a great time here in all of this tropical weather, and looking forward to having you guys join us. So I'm looking forward to talking to you soon.